Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. We're doing our 10-minute trial tips today, and I'm just trying to help. I know that this is a stressful time for everyone. You're home, you're dealing with your kids, you're dealing with trying to work, you're dealing with whether or not you can work, how much you want to work, if you can't work at all, you wish you could work. But then there are some where you still want to try to figure out how to work on your trial skills while you're at home. So I figured I would do these little 10-minute talks in order to cover a quick little topic once a week, just to give you something else to do, honestly, and to do my part in trying to help others during this time. I know we're probably all sick of coronavirus, COVID-19, and all that stuff, so I wanted to give you 10 minutes worth of space where you can just talk about trial tips and try to figure out how to be a boss trial lawyer during this time, because there's nothing that says we can't continue to learn. So we had a request for the trial tips DJ, that's what we're calling it, and the request was how to and when to voir dire an expert witness. So let's first talk about what voir diring an expert witness even means. So with voir diring an expert witness, first of all, what is it? It's essentially questioning the witness on their qualifications or lack thereof, based on the predicate questions that you usually have to ask of an expert. It's about their background, their education, their experience, their knowledge and understanding of the subject matter. These are the things that you're talking about when you are talking about voir diring the witness. When we talk about voir diring a witness, we think about it as opposing counsel, where during direct, counsel has asked its witness all the questions that they need to ask in order to lay the foundation for the personal knowledge of the expert. Because remember, every single witness that gets on that stand has to have a certain level of competency to testify. That includes knowledge. And remember, we talked about in 702 how a witness, an expert witness, can be qualified when we talked about our Daubert challenges and Daubert motions. So what are we doing when we voir dire a witness? Well, we're challenging that knowledge, expertise, education, experience that is listed in 702, but we're doing it in a way that would actually, hopefully, be beneficial if we do it correctly. So first we have to understand what it is. Voir dire of an expert witness is simply asking the qualifications of the witness. It can be done by both counsel. It is done by direct counsel when they do the initial qualifications of their witness. We think about it as from the opposing counsel point of view, where after they've done their qualifications, now we ask to voir dire the witness because we're going to try to attack the credibility of the witness. So if that's what voir dire is, what is voir dire not supposed to be? Voir dire is not full cross-examination. That's not what it is. It is not going into each and every single detail where you disagree with this expert. It is literally targeted mainly and only to the qualifications of the witness to testify. So if that's what voir dire is, why do we even do it? Well, we do it when we can score points with a jury. Notice I said with a jury. During a bench trial, voir diring a witness can really probably have little to no effect. And the reason for that is because judges, as finder of fact and the arbiter of the law, they feel like they fully know and understand who's qualified to testify, and it is within their purview to determine who's qualified to testify. So because of that, well, voir diring a witness just doesn't have the same effect in a bench trial. What you're really trying to do when you voir dire the expert witness is to show the jury some reason why this expert witness is not credible or not knowledgeable is really what you're focusing on. So determining whether or not to voir dire a witness now becomes strategic. I have to decide, should I voir dire this witness? Is it actually going to be an exercise in futility? Or is it going to gain me some points with the jury? So how do I know that? Well, the first way I know that is, was my Daubert motion denied? The answer is yes, because you're sitting here thinking about whether or not to voir dire this witness. So the fact that that Daubert motion is denied means that the judge has already decided that you do not have enough to disqualify this witness as an expert. So now what I'm trying to do is show the jury that there's a reason that they probably should not put as much weight on this expert witness's testimony. How do I do that? Let's use an example. Let's say it's a products liability issue. So remember when Honda was having all those airbag recalls, and it was a design defect, a manufacturing defect. It was every single possible defect known to man that, the plaintiffs were alleging that Honda had and Takei had in these airbags. Well, if I have an engineer who, yes, he's a civil engineer and he knows exactly how to build an airbag, that's one thing. But if I have an electrician who, that's just what he does. He's an electrician. He understands wiring, but he doesn't do design. He doesn't do or doesn't have enough to understand about design defects. I might voir dire about that because I want to show that the issue that we're really talking about is not what this expert is going to address. And I'm really doing a very short questioning on this expert as to whether or not they actually understand the design aspects or the manufacturing aspects, in order to show the jury you might not really want to take everything he says as gospel because he doesn't really know what we need him to know. So that's one thing that you need to think about. When it's strategic, you want to make sure that that strategy is going to pay off for you. So when I'm thinking about whether or not to actually voir dire this witness, the question is it really going to make a difference for how the jury is going to look at this witness? You do not voir dire a witness just because you can. That is not what we do. The reason we don't do that is because it can actually hurt you. A well-prepared expert will eat you for lunch. So you don't want to give them the opportunity to do that early on. You want to save it for your cross, where you can now sit and be strategic about what it is that you're going to cross this witness on. Because the truth is, with expert witnesses, unless you have, this big aha moment, and I'm totally going to date myself and say Perry Mason and Matlock, but unless you have this huge aha moment, the jury is going to look at this expert as if they are speaking with the voice of an angel. They know all, they understand all, and they are going to tell them exactly what it is they need to know. So what you have to show is that the expert either is not really qualified in the area that they're talking about, or you need to deal with it on cross, where you're showing where they actually agree with your expert, or the places that they differ don't matter. So when I'm thinking about voir diring a witness, what I want to make sure I remember are a couple things. One, what it is. It is testing the credentials of an expert. It's testing their qualifications in a manner that will actually be fruitful and help your jury to understand they don't need to listen to this person. It is not full-blown cross. And it must be strategic. So now, when the heck do I do it, Tanya? Well, you do it after the initial foundation is laid for the qualifications of the expert. Because remember, what we're learning today is voir dire is not just opposing counsel. Voir dire is simply the qualifications, questioning the expert on their qualifications. So once direct examination regarding the qualifications in that foundation is laid, you can ask the court to voir dire the expert. Some judges will ask if counsel wants to voir dire the expert, and you can either say yes or no at that point. Now, what is it, though, that I need to do once that happens? Well, it happens at the beginning of the direct examination for the most part, because the foundation must be laid before the witness can even testify. So when the opposing counsel now finishes their initial qualification, that is when you would ask to voir dire your expert. What should not happen, even though it does still happen in some jurisdictions, is opposing counsel should not tender the witness as an expert. There is case law out there that says that's improper, and it is asking the court to essentially approve or put a stamp of authority on the witness's testimony, which is not correct. So it should not be that the person tenders the person as an expert, but it might happen where they now seek to tender Dr. So-and-so as an expert in wizardry. And at that point, you ask to voir dire the witness. The reason we no longer tender, like I said, is because it is suggested that it is improper. The other thing that is also suggested as improper is saying that or is questioning the expert as to whether or not they've ever been tendered as an expert before. That is actually considered hearsay, which is something a lot of people don't know because we continue to do it. We continue to ask our experts during the initial questioning whether or not they've ever been qualified as an expert, how many times they've been qualified as an expert, and have you been qualified as an expert ever since you were breathing expert air? Yes, I have. That is improper. It's hearsay. It's the opinion of another person, i.e. a court though, but it's another person saying that this person is who they are, and it's being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. So there are a couple things in addition to understanding when to voir dire that you want to understand as far as tendering the expert, which we should not do, but we still do because it's ingrained in us that that's how it's done, and asking the witness how many times they've been tendered or accepted as an expert. So just to recap, in our 10-minute trial tips that we're doing today, we're talking about voir diring an expert, and we're talking about what it is, which is testing the credentials of an expert, what it is not, full-blown cross, or just an attempt of counsel to, try to look good, but it won't work in front of the jury. When it's done at the end of the initial foundation questions that are laid on direct to qualify the person as an expert. And why it's done so that you can point out to the jury that they might not need to listen to this person as closely as they ordinarily would. It's also done after your Daubert motion has been denied, so it should really be done strategically. Where you really want to put your energy and effort is into the cross-examination of the expert, which we'll probably deal with that next week. Just to continue up on our expert witnesses, since we've done Daubert 2 weeks ago, we're doing voir dire this week. So next week we'll do cross-examination of an expert, how to make it useful, how to not die while doing it, or not get eaten alive by the expert while doing it, because they are definitely very well versed in their craft and they know exactly how to testify if they've been doing it for a very long time. So I hope these 10 minutes were useful to you. Drop some comments, let me know, reach out, share, and let me know how I can help you during this time. Let me know what questions you have, what tips I can give you, how I can help you to become a better lawyer, one skill at a time.